wanted to talk to you real quick about the welder that I'm using. I'm using a Lincoln Electric Weld Pack 140, and let me tell you why I chose to use this particular model here. I like it for a lot of reasons. One, it's something that an endpoint user can find at a farm supply store, Lowe's, Home Depot, that kind of stuff. It's a great machine, runs on 110. It has a very small torch, so getting in these little tiny spots, it's real easy to do. We're going to be welding with solid core ER70S4 wire on 75-25 gas. If that's a little confusing to you, you can do this with flux core wire as well. I use it because that's my shop setup and that's what I like. It's a great little machine. We're going to get in our safety gear here. I want to talk to you just a minute about safety gear. Safety glasses, a good pair of gloves, a head covering to cover the bald noodle, a long sleeve leather jacket, or at least a long sleeve welding jacket, and a real good quality helmet. I'm going to jump into all this and we're going to get right into welding. All right, we're ready to try to weld this together. Now we've got to set these axles back in the tube enough to reach our holes and get welded, but not stick out so much that our wheel walks back and forth. Now, I've saved you a little step here. I can tell you that it's 2 3/4 inches is the mark we want to set this back on. So what we'll do, measure back 2 3/4 inches, put us a mark here. Brings us to another little issue that I came up with when I built this the first time as to how to keep this from wobbling and keep it nice tight weld and keep the axle square with the tube. So here's what I came up with. You familiar with this stuff? Packing banding. Get it around pallets all the time. You band things down to boxes down to pallets. I just took a piece of this and I cut it up into a bunch of short pieces. And what I do with it is I put one on each side. And I just kept adding them until I took up that space. And the great thing about these is they're free. And don't call me cheap, call me thrifty. Now what I've done is I've essentially tightened this up so that the holes in the rod are close to each other. Now I can make a weld in there and keep the end of this from ever wanting to wiggle inside the pipe. We're going to tack weld it in place. Anytime you weld, you always want to try to tack weld it in multiple places. When you put metal in as a liquid, a hot liquid, it expands, and then as it cools and solidifies, it contracts, and it'll cause all kinds of forces and actually move the metal. So if we tack it in a bunch of different places, it kind of holds it in place to help it from shifting on us. All right, now that we've got it tacked in place, we can remove these and use them for the other side. It's not going to go anywhere. It's held nice and square to the axle. Now the way we want to do a plug weld is we want to come in here, we want to weld around the outside, bring in the base material or the solid square tube, melting it and bringing it down to this solid rod. We want to work all the way around the puddle, all the way around, come back and fill it so that we wind up with a semi-flush weld. And there you have it. You have a plug weld. Now that we've got both of these plug welds done, I want to come over and fill this in. Now this is a little bit tricky, and I know it's a little bit of redneck, but realize we're not building a watch here. This is kind of a toy, and it's beyond safe. I've actually ridden in the barrel train and a lot of adult members of my family have, so I can assure you that it can hold a 250-pound fat man. So let's finish this up. I'll tighten these welds up and then we'll go do the other side. Beautiful, I like it a lot. Now, I know that there's gonna be some critics out there that say that, you know, it's not welded on all 4 sides, but keep in mind if this was a piece of angle iron, you would only be welding it on 2 sides. So you essentially have 2 solid welds here. And this is nothing to laugh at either, it's plenty strong. Plus the plug welds on the back side keep it from being a moment and trying to work back and forth. So it is pretty strong. All right, so we've got that axle all taken care of, welded together. We need to weld it to the cross shaft, but before we can do that, and while this is a nice straight piece, we're gonna go ahead and weld the hitch on the end. So what I've done is gone ahead and clamped on the hitch. And I wanted you to see that it's 2.5 inches back. We're gonna weld this on here. Make sure that the hole in your hitch is on the same side with the holes. Otherwise, you'll be trying to drag the barrel train sideways and it won't get you very far. Put a few tack welds on it and get it burned together. Okay, that does it. That gets one side on here. So before we're gonna do the next side, little trick. Remember that bolt and washer we were gonna make the hitch out of? I'm gonna use this bolt. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drop it through the hole, follow my mark. Let me show you my mark here. I went ahead and followed my mark down. I'm gonna follow my mark, but I'm gonna put it through this hole. And when I get it all clamped together, it'll help make sure that when this is all welded together and said and done, I can still get the pin out if I didn't get the holes aligned exactly straight. Okay, looks good. Let's throw a couple of tacks on it. A couple of tack welds, we'll finish this weld up and we'll be done with the hitch. Okay, we're not worried about the bolt anymore because once we got the first tack weld on it, it can't move. Let's melt some metal. Okay, we've got the hitch on there. We're ready to go. Now follow these measurements. At 12 inches from the end, on the inside of that, we're going to put this square tube on the center of this square tube. We're gonna square that up. We're gonna put a couple of tack welds on it and then weld it on all 4 sides. That's gonna give us our axle and our main bone for our barrel train. Anything that you're trying to also tack weld together that needs to be square, after you tack it, go back and check it again. Sometimes these things move, especially with that contracting force that I talked about. Looks pretty tight. Since I have the other 2 sides tacked, I'm going to go ahead and weld these first. Great. Now right now this thing's hotter than hell's bells, so we'll give it a couple of minutes to cool off. While we're doing that, we're going to move over to another part of the project, and I'm going to get set up and show you here in just a second. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed what you saw here today. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and like us on Facebook. Please, somewhere down below here is a link. See you soon.